Welcome, 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 everybody, to this week's podcast. And I'm really excited and a little bit nervous because today I have my first stranger talking to me. But already I know this is going to be the most delicious conversation because I am so intrigued to get into my guest's brain, her intuition, her beautifulness. And the reason I know this is going to be the most delightful conversation is because I said to her, I really want to hear your wisdom. And she said, there's only two words. It's love. That was it. I don't know if you said it, but it was the second word was love. Anyway, please can I introduce Kooch Daniels to the podcast? Kooch, can you tell us all about yourself, please?
No, but I'll try to give you a little bit. You
Thank
probably
you.
don't want to know everything anyway. My shadow is always looming. But
Yes, aren't we
I
all?
am, I have been blessed by the universe to be a lifelong psychic. Professionally, I started in front of Ghirardelli Square Market in San Francisco when I was about 22 years old, just doing readings because that was like my practice. How do I learn how to do readings? So I started at a very young age and learned the hard way, like how to be grounded, how to protect my energy, how not to give 3 hour readings for 25 cents. There was a lot of lessons. Plus, when I was 22, the police would like chase you out because some people were, like the devil's sitting over there and they'd be pointing at my booth or my table or whatever. So I've learned the hard way how do I stay grounded? How do I keep going for a dream that everybody's telling me I'm crazy, which maybe you've seen a little bit that I am a little crazy, but I kept holding on to what I wanted to do and what I love to do.
Uh-huh.
I actually tried to become more professional in the therapeutic world, and I got a degree in psychology. And I started training in halfway houses with children or teenagers that were going in the wrong direction and uh, people that needed help. So I
Yeah.
had some real strong background, but I kept having the most ridiculous experiences. A real quick one is one of my teenagers ran away on my graveyard shift and
Mhm.
takes like 6 hours to fill out the forms and deal with the police records and all that kind of stuff when you're working in like legitimate halfway houses.
Yeah.
She came back like 6 weeks later. She had gotten a job for $5 more than I was making trying to be there as an intern. And I was like, why am I doing this when I can do readings and people pay me more than they're paying her as a teenager doing her thing? So I was like always being like pushed by the universe. Do what you want to do, just go for it.
Mm.
And so that my beginning was trying to be a sincere people helper. That
Okay.
was in my brain, and I loved ghost busting and doing weird things like psychic readings. So that was my beginning. And strangely enough, the universe just kept opening doors. I worked as a reader at the Renaissance Fair, where there were three of them during the whole year, which took most half of the year for 25 years. So I've like read thousands of people just in that environment, trying to like my whole life in 2 minutes. Sorry, everybody, if this is too crazy, but that part of my training, because we're always being trained more and more to be psychic or intuitive, it's always there's an evolutionary process, but that 25 years strengthened my skills so I could pretty much promote myself
Yeah.
in corporations, which I spent the next decade or two working in corporations doing readings to help people and de-stress people in corporations.
That's
Like,
brilliant.
because I live in San Francisco area, there's lots of tech companies and they're very open to people like myself. So
That's
I
fantastic.
I've had a
Wow.
very lengthy profession, and then your name gets around, and then you get called by like the 49ers or movie stars that live in the Bay Area. So I like my whole it just kind of blossomed because I was following my passion
Mm.
and being sincere at trying to help people and wanting to do something that would make a difference.
Yeah. I love that so much. And one of the reasons why I'm really excited to talk to you today is because my spiritual world is awakening. I'm not an expert in it, and it always
Oh, you
fascinates
are.
me. Oh, thank you.
Nikki, I
Why
can
do you
tell
say
that I'm
that?
an intuitive person and I see so much light in you. You are not only awakening, you're helping other people awaken.
Oh,
I see
thank
that in
you.
you. All I have to do is look in a person's eyes and I follow my intuition and I dive a little deeper than what a person presents
Mm.
externally. And I see how much light you have in you, and you are just like a brilliant flame. And I congratulate you for all the work you're doing because you're bringing so much more light to the planet.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so I'm going to practice my receiving here and allow myself to receive those words. Thank you so much. Um, I'm really curious. There's going to be lots of questions today, Cooch. I've got lots of questions. So I'm really curious. First of all, how do you describe the difference between psychic versus intuition, if there is a difference?
It is totally in the eyes of the beholder
Okay.
because psychics have one connotation, which is you're a little bit more bold, a little bit more psychic, and you have more of a fortune telling connotation that goes with the word psychic. And
Mm,
there's a lot more neon signs that say psychic than you never see a neon sign that says intuitive. They always say psychic.
yeah.
So psychic often is related or connected with the gypsy fortune teller.
Hmm.
And when people see the word psychic in movies, it's usually like Friday the 13th, or psychic has a little bit more of a flamboyant, you're in trouble here kind, but you're also with a real expert. So psychic is a very bold word where counselors, like people who do transpersonal um, counseling, which is kind of like one step between like traditional counseling and what I do. Transpersonal counseling is a beautiful term, but no one would use the word psychic, but they're very comfortable using the word intuition.
Okay.
And people will book themselves as being intuitive counselors or intuitive consultants because it has pres uh, more acceptance
Okay.
in the academic world. And if I say I'm an intuitive, people will go, "Oh, well, how do you use your intuition?" But if I say I'm a psychic, nobody ever asks me how I use my psychic
Isn't
abilities.
that, why do you think that is? It's almost like there's a fear attached to it.
There is, I think people are expecting when I think of psychics, I always think there's going to be more fire and, it's more of a higher energy. And intuitive is kind of very subtle and they kind of just kind of squeeze in there and then they put it out and it's the same energy, but it's given on it. I mean, forgive me, psychics or intuitives, because I know both of you are equal. They're equal.
Yes.
An intuitive reader or a psychic reader, they're doing the same thing. But if you're advertising, because I've been advertising all my life, the word psychic has a different draw than the word intuitive. I could, I got a degree. My master's degree was creating a children's tarot deck. I could say I was intuitive and I could sneak in that door that was not acceptable at that time, but I said the word intuitive, so I could give intuitive training
Mm,
as part of what I offered, but I couldn't come out and say I'm a psychic because
mm,
it's people are more afraid of the word psychic, or it just has a different, some people might disagree with me totally because maybe they've had different experiences, but I don't know. And I know a lot of psychology psychics, but they don't say psychics. They say they're intuitives. And I
yeah.
know that as a fact because I've worked in psychological conventions.
Mm.
And I always get in through the intuitive or that
Yeah.
that opens the door. If I say I'm a psychic, that door is not going to open. I know this from personal experience.
Yeah.
Maybe
I,
other people
yeah.
have different experiences, but
Well,
I
it's
cannot
interesting,
find one
isn't it?
academic person that's working in this field that calls himself a psychic. I
Yeah.
don't know any, and I know more than a few. I
Yeah.
know people who work for like Psychology Today as writers who are psychics, but they say they're intuitives.
Yeah. And it's, I had
So it's
never really considered the difference. And I suppose if I was going to consider the difference, I would attach um, past life or people that have passed over. So, spirits that in the unseen world. I would say that a psychic would be more connected to that side of the world. And then I can understand why people maybe don't get it because they can't see it, they can't understand it. Whereas when you say an intuitive, I think instinctively people know what intuition is, so they get it. Whereas people that don't
and
have
people
access, yeah,
and also people who work with people on the other side are often called mediums,
yeah,
which is a different category than psychics because I can
is
tell
it?
a person
Yeah,
I'm a psychic and then they'll go, well, I'm looking for a medium. It's like, okay, well, okay. How many ghost bustings have I done? But that's okay. So, I mean, everybody has like a different perception
yeah,
of what is a
fascinating.
psychic or what is an intuitive.
Yeah,
But I think intuitives, my dream, in fact, I just had a dream where I was telling somebody they had to use their intuition, their right hemisphere more. And then once I had that dream, I called and I said, I just had a dream and I kept being told you need to use your intuition more. That's acceptable because that person has a degree in psychology. If I would have told her that she needed to be psychic, she would have said, get out of here.
yeah,
It's just the world I live in.
yeah,
I don't, I people are definitely more accepting of the word intuition.
yeah, yeah. So interesting. So you said you started this early, as in like 22 years old. How did
Well,
you know?
professionally,
Yeah, so tell me how you knew. How did you know that you were psychic, that you had intuitive powers?
I was always fascinated with witchcraft
Mhm.
and ghosts. And when I was like 17 and 18, I went ghost busting. So I was very brave and courageous because a lot of people don't like to do that. And, you gravitate towards people that like the same things as you. So I would
Absolutely.
wind up going on ghost hunts with
Yeah.
people. And the more you meet that crowd, then there's more people that come into that crowd. And pretty soon I was meeting people that were doing like real strong, powerful channeling where they could just like read your mind and tell you what you needed to hear. So I was introduced to things that were supernatural or totally out of the norm. And the more I would see that that's possible, the more I was like, ooh, how do I do that? And
Wow.
so once I graduated from college, my parents were so excited because I was going to be a teacher. So I'm like, I don't want to be a psychic. They were so disappointed in me. I was a failure. Um, I remember just like,
Like
but
in Harry
mom,
Potter when you do realize you're a witch or a wizard
I know. I
and
mean,
they're
now
like,
it's like,
you're
oh, they're so
weird.
popular now. And not only that, besides being able to make a living, because you always wonder, well, can you pay your bills? Because I was a
Yeah.
professional and doing the skills, I could pay my bills. And I also wrote books and I created two different
Yes.
oracles for people. This is my shameless plug. One is the
Absolutely.
Sacred Mysteries, the Chakra Oracle, and I'm doing a class on this tonight. So I try to like help people open up because you can open your ajna, the third eye chakra, the sixth chakra, um, by doing readings. And cards are a great way to do readings. So
Okay.
that's one way to open up psychically. It's like, you kind of like flex this muscle, keep it working. And the other oracle I did is Zodiac Light Oracle because I work with astrology. So because of my years of doing this work, I could do uh I got doors open that would enable me to do things like create
Yeah.
books or decks. And so you asked, what was your question? I'm still
Well,
half asleep.
it was, I was just asking you how it all started, but my next question was going to be, what tools do you use? And so you've given us the Oracle deck. So did you design those yourself?
I I'm not an artist. I've always wanted to be an artist, but I studied with a spiritual guru from India, and I was totally in love with him. My husband introduced me to him. I mean, it's not like a romantic love, just that
Yeah.
when you find somebody that, and he was so psychic, it, and they never, gurus will never tell you that they're psychic or intuitive. They don't even bother with those words. I mean, they don't have to because they prove it by how they're communicating with you in your mind. Like, they can talk to you in your mind. I'll give you a really bad example. I had like my 6-year-old daughter had head lice, right? Kids pass
Yeah.
them in school. This is just a practical thing. We hate them. They're horrible things.
Yeah.
But here's my spiritual teacher, and he's only here for like 2 weeks from India. And it's like, I have to go. And I couldn't get a babysitter. And not only that, I'm like afraid if I have a babysitter, then my babysitter. But of course, I would take him to my guru because, of course, my guru is not going to get them because he's so above the material, crazy world that we live in. And I couldn't not go because I loved him so much. So I'm like, I'll just keep her under my arm. I won't let her walk around or anything. And I take her with me. And you have to believe he comes over and he looks at me and he looks at her and he looks at me and he looks at her and it goes, it goes like, uh-huh. Because gurus that are so above the normal person who wants to develop psychically, they just they show you how they are psychic. They don't have to say, "Oh, I'm a intuitive," or it's not a question. It's just a fact, and you see it in them. And working with a high master or somebody who is genuine and open-hearted,
Mm.
if they're psychic, it rubs off on you because you experience it on a pure level, and you know that there is a third eye. And the more you do meditation with somebody like that, and they're talking to you in your mind, and you're getting that there's something going on here, it opens you more and more. So, working with somebody who's very evolved or enlightened can help you become more enlightened, even if it's just opening your heart, not opening your third eye. But,
Mm.
high beings, they say whoever you hang out with, energy, it's frequencies and they kind of mix and mingle with who
Yeah.
you're with. So if you want to get high and be stoned and hang out with druggies, hey, that's great. That's how you're going to be too, because the energies, that's we
Yeah.
mix and mingle with the people that we're connected with. So if
Mm.
you mix and mingle with saints or gurus, you get their energy because it's so expansive. Their auras are like, think of it like a huge tree and you're sitting under a tree getting shade. So if you're hanging out with gurus, you get that energy, and that they'll help you because they know what your path is and they know what you want to do. So if you're wanting to work psychically or do psychic healings or intuitive healings or Reiki or whatever, they'll boost your energy. So hanging around with saints or gurus, that's one way to help your evolution, your soul evolution or your psychic evolution. And then the more you do things like tarot readings or reading astrology charts or uh, anything that involves flexing this muscle, because it's like a
Mm.
muscle, it's actually the sixth chakra, which is a wheel of energy connected with soma. In Hindu tradition, soma is the nectar of the gods, and it flows from the crown chakra, and that's a whole nother story. But the more that you flex this, the soma, you start connecting with that energy of the nectar of the gods. The more you're flexing that, energy, using that energy, it strengthens, just like if you were flexing your muscles
Yeah.
regularly, and you become stronger at using it.
So interesting. I'm just going to turn my light on. Sorry if you're listening and you see me on YouTube disappear a second, but I didn't consider that it was going to get darker and darker here in the UK because it's nighttime. So do you think anybody then can practice their psychic abilities or their their intuitive abilities? Do you think everybody has that, or is it only a select few?
Everybody has it, but if you watch too many movies on the devil, Satan worshiper movies, or get in with somebody who's like Jim Jones, the Kool-Aid guy who, like, helped everybody die because they drank his. That was like, I think that was like 30 years ago. If people remember Jim Jones,
Is
he
that
took
the
his whole
guy,
crowd.
um, the mass suicide?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So it's like, you have to be careful who you hang out with, because
yeah,
there are some people who want to take you over. So if you're receptive to strong people who want to tell you what to do, you're not a good candidate to develop psychically.
mm,
Because when you're psychic, you're more empathic and you're more receptive and you're more vulnerable. And if you're not grounded and if you're not really paying attention, somebody who's wants to take advantage of you're more susceptible. So
yeah,
if you're too you've got, I think for people who are normal, like someone like yourself who's doing really grounded work and you know yourself, you're a great candidate for being developing your psychic ability more and more. It's only people that are, I there's institutes that develop psychic people psychically because they're paying them money. And I always go, if it's just money, then you're going to take somebody who is bipolar. That's not good. So, you really have to look at how strong are you? How much courage do you have to like develop an ability that people are going to tell you you're full of crap? Because a lot of people don't believe in it, or they're going to
yeah.
make fun of you, or they're going to tell you you're crazy. And like my parents told me I was crazy for a decade before they would accept that I wasn't like walking on a horrible, shameful path and shaming the family.
Mm.
I wasn't born into a gypsy family. But if you're born into a Romanian family, it's like, yes. But I wasn't. And so my family thought I was just embarrassing them and shaming, our gene pool. But so it just, if you have a belief in your heart that you're going to use it in a way that will benefit what you do or what you're about, and you can't not use it because it's so strong, you're going to use it, you can develop it. And that means, yes, you can develop it. You can. Everybody can, but should you? Are there some people that shouldn't?
Yeah.
And, you have to just be aware that you don't want a psychic person who has been in the mental hospital for drug abuse or because of family abuse or whatever. You don't want that kind of a person being trained to become an astral traveler or someone who can like read your mind,
Mm,
because knowing part of how you get paid is through your reputation.
mm,
So if you're telling people horrible things in their readings, and that gives readers a bad reputation, because there are readers that say things like, "Oh, you're never going to find someone to marry. You're going to be single all your life." Those are just like, really practical words, but it's horrible to hear that, because people who come for readings, they're open, they're receptive, and it's just like it puts a stain on the person in relation to how they see themselves. So you want to make sure that you have a positive outlook and that you can I don't say you have to be a healer because I don't try to heal people of physical problems, but there are psychic healers or medical intuitives, and they're really good. So you want to make sure that you check a person's reputation, make sure that they're going to be somebody who holds your hand in a way that's uplifting instead of ripping you apart.
Mm.
And I mean, I've put enough band-aids on people who have gotten bad readings because then people who like readings instead of going to shrinks or therapists, they'll they get stuck on readers for some reason because we're a little bit more colorful than a lot of, excuse me if you're a therapist. Readers are a little bit more, we wear, a lot more scarves and bigger jewelry than therapists. Let me put it that way. So some people, some people gravitate towards readers instead of going to therapists, and some people are afraid of therapists because it's like associated with, mental problems. So people who come to readers, you'll find, oh, you went to her, or you went to her. And, they're trying to get verification, or are you going to tell me this something different than that reader? Or, it's a weird world, right? But the point I was trying to make is if you get a bad reputation, you're not going to have people sending you anyone,
Yeah.
or you're not going to have a business that supports you because you won't get repeat customers. And so you've got to look at, as far as developing psychically, you want to do it for all the right reasons so that your reason for why are you wanting to develop psychically?
Mm.
If you've got your head on your shoulders and you're a normal person, yes, you can do readings. If you're a little bit like off center or a little bit, yeah, you're more into anger or jealousy or the things that stir up your own negativity, then you don't want to get into something that's going to amplify it.
Mm.
Because when you're working psychically, everything, all your senses are amplified.
And I guess it's the same. It's the same with anything, isn't it? It's like money. Good people
Yeah,
with money do good things. Bad people
right.
with money do bad things. It's not money. It's not psychic.
It's
It's
not the
not
money, it's
intuitive.
how you
That's the
see it,
problem.
how
It's
you
how
use
you
it.
use it. Yeah, that's it. So it's the
Hmm.
same with this
Yeah,
skill, isn't it? It's how, it's the intention in which you use it and put it out into the world.
exactly. And also, it's like people who want to play the piano learn how to play the piano and they love playing the piano. I've had people come to learn tarot, but if it's not their passion, if it's not what they really like to do long term, they're not, they're curious, they want to satisfy their curiosity, they want to learn it because it's like really in right now. It's so in. It's like I got to know how to do it. But if it's not really their path, they're maybe in it for like 3 or 4 months and then they're not in it.
Yeah.
And the same with developing intuitively. If you can't figure out, "Oh, well, why should I bother?" Because it's another thing to train your mind.
Mm.
Oh my gosh, I can't even train my mind to stop eating, let alone
Yeah.
develop psychically. It's just like, how can I train my mind to like, be more disciplined or, make more
Yeah.
money or whatever I'm trying to do? Because everything takes time and energy.
Yeah.
And it's like how you want to use it is part of if you're going to use it and if you're going to be willing to train your mind to like move into that mode.
Yeah. So interesting. So how is it through readings that you work mostly with your clients then? Tell us more about how you do that.
I've been doing readings for decades. So I've done so many readings. And then at a certain point, I've been so blessed this because it's really a beautiful thing to be able to help people and for people to call and want you. It's like, oh, I'm worth something. I mean, people are asking me to work. Oh, and there's a lot of personal satisfaction in doing what you love. And I've
Mm.
always loved to like, as my that same guru who went like this with my little daughter, We got into a big fight because he said I had a big nose because I like to dig in other people's business.
Oh.
Don't look, but I mean, it's true. I do have a larger nose. My sister got hers like, facelift, but I didn't.
Yeah.
But the thing is, true. I love hearing people's stories. I don't know why. It's just like how I'm made. I don't know. But so I have like a curiosity about people, and I love being able to do what some readers call it's not fortune telling, it's fortune creating. We're trying to help people create a better outlook or a better perspective on their own life so that they can tap into their personal power and develop, not be afraid to develop their passion or their potential, and they're more motivated because you're like feeding them positive, go for it, and which is really important. If you're going to be working with people, you want to inspire them to be the best they can be. That brings up everybody's energy because what
Mm.
we give out comes back. So if you're feeding people, be the best you can be, then I want to be the best I can be too. Because it's like, if it's channeling and I'm channeling light or channeling the gods, I want positive energy to come through me to the other person. So I'm not only giving it to them, but I'm also feeling it. So it's this loop and it just keeps growing, right? So if what was your main question? I can't get
I
like
don't know.
babbling
I
on.
got
Did I
caught up in
forget
the lights.
where am I going with
Oh, it was how do you
this?
work
So
with pe how do you work with people? Like it was mostly I said, do you mostly do readings? Like how do you work? Like how do you work with people? What does that look like? That was the question.
okay, so I trained as a tarot reader and I went to India to learn palm reading because I love palm reading. And I wanted to like study with the masters because everybody knows like palm reading in India, they're like one. It's like a unit. You always hear about the palm readers in India, so I studied that. So I work with people through palm readings and tarot cards. I've created oracle cards because I play with the symbols enough that I could put them together in a way that makes sense. So I play with oracles or just plain divination. I read crystal balls. I read people's jewelry because that's called psychometry when you're reading the energy off something, or somebody will bring me like a ring from their grandma and they'll want me to read their grandma. So it's basically connecting with frequencies. But I have all these mediums like cards, astrology symbols, reading astrology charts. So I've lived long enough that I developed a connection with so many different mediums because, oh, you can read tea leaves. Oh, how do you do that? I went to Greece. Oh, and I had to connect with somebody and I was going, oh, wow, there must be a way to read coffee grounds because we were talking about it and I was playing with the coffee grounds that she was serving me coffee grounds. I go, my grandmother taught me how, and I like learned how to read coffee grounds from a woman who's like learned from her grandma, who's learned from her grandma. So I just like if you live long enough and you're like following a path, you keep learning more
Mm.
about it from different perspectives, or there's just opportunities to always learn more because there's so many people who have fascinations with things that you would never think about until you get connected with that energy and then you want to know more and then they just start popping up and pretty soon you just keep training. I've been training my entire life. I'm still learning.
Yeah,
I've
because
been
when I
doing
went and
readings my
looked,
entire life, but still
yeah,
learning.
still learning. Because when I went and looked on your website, I'm like, well, we could talk about crystals, we could talk about tarot, we could talk about like there are so many other books that you've written. So is there do you have a favorite way to connect with the energies?
Open heart, heart to heart. I touch with my hands and I feel with my heart and I look through here and this could either be right brain or left brain because I feel they have to work together to be able to communicate.
Mm.
Right brain is your intuitive, creative, and left brain is your logic. if you're a true intuitive, you just go for the intuitive. But if you're communicating with a person, it has to make sense and it has to
Mm.
relate to what they're going through. And they don't want to hear intuitive nonsense. They want something that helps them heal their problems or resolve a crisis. And that involves logic as well as what you're feeling intuitively. So my sense is like left brain, right brain, they need to work together. And they kind of meet right here. And logically, even if you like, if you look at the brain itself, the left brain and the right brain, they meet right here. This is the meeting point. And
Yeah.
this is where the third eye is.
Yeah.
So
Did you
you
know I'd
put,
not considered that?
you know, you gotta, you have to balance being a grounded, logical person with being an intuitive person to be able to work in the world,
Yeah.
from my perspective.
Yeah. Do you know I read it was probably a couple of years ago actually with science as it's progressing, like for millennia humans have known about the energy, the chakras, the chakra points on the body.
Yeah.
And science is now proving that now I cannot remember for the life of me what two systems within the body is. I think it's the endocrine and the blood, possibly, but I'm that bit I might be wrong about. But there are two very significant systems, and the only time they cross in the body are at the chakra points. And so it's like if you were actually to map out all the systems of the body, the only point that these two ever cross and come into connection is at the different chakra points. So they can even prove now scientifically, not that some of us need to have the science, but if for those people that are like, oh, that's not science, that's a load of spiritual woo, it's actually really fucking not. There's actually a lot of science behind. Like the same with energy, isn't it? Like energy, that frequency that we hold has an effect on the other frequencies around it. That's science. That's not I mean, we've known it intuitively and spiritually for millennia, but it's only now that science is being able to catch up and prove.
Yeah, science is talking a lot about frequencies and these cell towers. It's the frequencies, the frequencies. And that's how we all connect because every cell in our body is made out of light. And all of the cells, when they come together, are communicating a vibration by connecting and creating light. And it, it it's communicated through frequency. So we're all communicating our frequencies and intermingling our frequencies. And that's our advantage over AI because and
Mm.
this is what I say, AIs will never be as smart as humans, even though they may move faster, create faster, have more capabilities to make money faster, and everything that everybody's like, oh, AI has stolen every common sense intellectual thought from humans, for one. So fingers up for the human mind. And they don't have intuition.
No.
They're trying to mimic. I was working for a computer company and made did really good financially. Just saying because I know it's like the working woman is part of your theme. Yes, we can make good money, honestly, not trying to rip people off like embezzlement, because there's a lot of horrible stories about psychics embezzling people. But working for a company that's all about communication. So I was duplicated supposedly by a big machine. I was told I was being replaced by a computer. And I thought to myself, okay, well, great. You're letting these people come in and sit in, and then they're trying to read their feelings. But computers are not intuitive. They don't
No.
have the ability to be intuitive. They are logical and numerical. They are not feeling, intuitive, emotional creatures. And that's where we stand above them and are separate and will always be a brighter light than any computer.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%.
That's my pro human, because they talk about how much brighter and smarter computers are. Never. They
Yeah.
can't be.
No.
I'm
They are very,
pro-human.
they're a lot quicker at reading than I am though. I do love working with my eye. I've got a private chat. I've got a custom chat that I work with, and it makes my life so much quicker because it can go off and read shit that I couldn't.
Yeah, it can do things like so much faster than we can,
Yeah.
but ask it to give you a reading.
Yeah, it's not going to do that. It will
No,
just
ask it
not,
to
I
tell
mean, it
you
will
how to
give me a
heal your
reading, but
heart.
it won't be connected to the spiritual, it won't be a spiritual connected
No,
reading. No, it will
no,
be just copied from
no.
something. So tell me then, how does it work if you're connected, if you love sort of the touch and the heart center
The heart and the touch up.
and being connected that way, how does it work when we're virtual? Because you and I are talking on Zoom. I mean, you're in America and I'm in England, and I can sense a
Oh,
connection. Not that I can articulate it, but I can sense that connection. So how does that work even though we're not? Tell me how that works, because I don't understand.
well, just even you asking that question, I'm reading your energy, your frequency, and the light coming out of your eyes. That's why I keep saying, as soon as I saw you, I knew you were a healer or somebody who's really positive. I want to be your best friend because I see the light within you and I can see it. I don't care how many millions of miles apart we are. I can see looking through the screen your vibrational frequency because it is a vibration. Vibrations have light, they have energy, and they, like a dim light has less frequency, a brighter light has more frequency. You're a brighter light.
Hmm.
And I see that by looking at your eyes.
Well, it's really interesting because I hear this a lot. I hear a lot of people say to me, "You've got a really amazing energy, Nikki," they're talking. They must be talking spiritual or emotional because it's certainly not physical. I don't have a huge amount of physical. I'm a bit sloth-like when it comes to like my physical energy, but I'm just always so fascinated by how.
Your soul energy is very bright. It's your soul energy that comes through your eyes. It's not your worldly energy. Worldly energy, you it comes through maybe, but not the soul is what comes through it's like the soul, the eye is the pathway, the doorway to the soul.
Hmm.
It's how you can look in a person's eyes. You're also like, you're right here. This is this power triangle right here. Like third eye and your three eyes are right in this area.
Yeah,
And if you ever see a third eye symbol, it's pointed like this, like to the heavens.
yeah,
So this is your doorway to your seventh chakra, the crown chakra, which is your communication with the cosmos, with God. So what you're projecting out right here pretty much is it's like the pathway to the soul. That's why
wow.
people, when they see you, they go, "Oh, you've got high energy," or you've got this really good energy because it's like it comes out right here. Your eyes are
Like,
very
for if you're listening, your cooch is like pointing to her eyes right now.
I know it
If
looks a
you're not
little
watching
weird,
us
but
on YouTube.
I'm from California, so I always have an excuse to be weird.
Yeah,
Because people think, "Oh, Californians are so weird,"
I love
but
it.
we're
Amazing.
fun.
So I want to just swing back a second to your oracle cards and your the other ones that the orange ones that you lifted up. Because you said
This
if
one?
people, yeah. So tell us more because you said about the oracle cards. So what the one that you're holding up now? Is that a pack of cards?
Okay,
The Sacred Mysteries, it says, does it?
the Sacred Mysteries Chakra Oracles. So there's 49 cards within the deck, and there's 7 cards for each chakra. And the cards, it's like first chakra, second chakra. I just go through the different associations with the chakra energy. which does line up with the endocrine system, which where these points meet on the body are where you have more nerve endings than anywhere else in your body.
Yeah.
And chakra means wheel. It's like the turning, but it's not a physical, it's like a vibrational. It's totally vibrational and it's totally inward. And you connect with chakras with meditation. So when I'm reading cards, I read them in a similar way as you would read any other kind of oracle card or any kind of tarot card. You lay out, okay, here's one card, here's three cards, here's seven cards, and you do a reading of what cards appear in response to a person's question or situation.
Mm. And can you do that virtually as well?
Yeah. And people do Zoom readings, they do phone readings, and they work really well
Yeah.
because if just like we're talking now, we're having a conversation about what is psychic juju or intuitive mythology methods that help people. And I mean, it's just a conversation, but
Mm.
you're bringing up ancient symbols, and I would be drawing on my intuition to try to look at the meaning of the relationships of the cards, how they sit with one another
Mm.
or next to one another.
Yeah. So fascinating. So you said earlier that you're doing a workshop tonight. Tell us more about the
Mhm.
workshop. I mean, by the time actually people hear this, it would be too late for that workshop, but do you do them often?
Uh, I love chakra energy because chakras are a way of evolving. I mean, when you're working with your chakras, you can connect more with your physical being, your emotional being, your mental being in a way that's different than reading tarot cards, in my mind, anyway. And because my chakra oracle deck brings in Vedic astrology, and they bring in a lot of ancient wisdom
Mm.
because I worked with my guru. So of course I'm gonna like try to be like grabbing his goodies and transmitting them through my work, so that it has more than if it was just me without that. It's just like what I've studied for how many years. So of course I'm going to bring in things that I've learned or tried to bring in things that involve mystical traditions. And does that answer your question?
Well, I wondered the question the question
Yeah, I was like,
was
oh, I'm avoiding again. I
the
just
question
start
was your
going on, and then
workshop.
I only, okay, I'm going on answering her question now. Where am I going with this? So where are
The
we going
question
with
was
this?
your workshop.
Oh,
You
my
said at the
workshop. What am
beginning.
I doing at the workshop?
You said you were doing a workshop this evening. Now, yeah, tell me, do you
Yeah.
do workshops often? And how do people get to know about them if they want to know more?
Oh, I've been doing, once COVID came, I kind of retreated, and now I'm coming out in part because I want to help people learn more about working with their own inner chakras. That's why I'm moving towards chakras more than tarot, because I feel like chakra awareness can help a person self-heal
Hmm.
and work on evolution, which tarot readings can too, but chakras are really lined up to help push a person towards moving from, for instance, second chakra is family, emotional intimacy, connecting with love, where your needs are being fulfilled or your longings and desires are being talked about and discussed, and the juiciness of the love energy. Fourth chakra is also love, but it's about how can I give you love? How
Hmm.
can I help you be more in touch with the love within yourself so that you're not worrying about things that second chakra involves, which is like jealousy, possession, being overly insecure about love. So, like, if you move from the second chakra love energy, which is where most of us all are, because we get jealous if our lover goes somewhere with someone, goes off with someone else, or we're worried we're going to lose them, which it's like there's so many concerns, like, is the love not going to be there? But the fourth chakra, if you can move from second chakra emotional concerns to the fourth chakra, it's all about I'm safe, I'm secure. I have
Mm.
unconditional love for you, whatever you do. So it's just like if we move into an awareness of how to work to become more in our heart center where we have security, we can open our hearts easier because we know we're going to be okay. So I love working with chakras because it helps all of us move to our higher centers. And then you go up to how we're communicating, how we're sensing with all of our senses,
Mm.
because the five senses are the foundation of the sixth sense that goes up to the crown, which is like connecting with the cosmos and connecting with God realization or enlightenment. So that's why I'm kind of like focused more on chakras personally because I'm working on myself to try to like, how do I open to being more fourth chakra instead of second chakra? How can I like move the fourth chakra energy upward so that I can connect with the star seed beings, the people that are really carrying the light for the planet
Yeah, wonderful.
and be more light instead of in my shadow. Be
Nice.
more into my trust instead of my fear.
Yeah,
So
which I
it's like
think more
we
of us need to access.
yeah.
Yeah, I love that so
So
much.
it enables me to work on myself more, I think.
Yeah. So, Cooch, is there anything that we haven't talked about that you feel called to share?
Well, I think with any oracle or any way that you develop your eye, everybody pretty much knows there's like that white on one side of a circle that has a like an S in it in the black. You've got to find the middle to be able to use the energy. It's not all black, it's not all white. There's that where do they come together? So if you can find that balance, that will help you develop psychically. Because if you're all too much on the in the black zone or too much in the white zone, too much la or too much negativity,
Yeah,
then you've got to have a meeting because we're in a world of duality where yes, no, pain, pleasure. He loves me, he hates me. I mean, we have to find that center to be able to help other people, to help ourselves. So that
yeah,
would be my final note. Just like find your center and, be at peace within, even during
yeah,
warring times.
yeah. So good. I will put all of your links in the show notes below so that anybody that's listening, if you're like, oh, I want to learn more about Cooch and her oracle cards and her tarot cards, they can find you and get in touch with you. Um, so I think it's just now to say thank you so much for coming and talking to me. It's been absolute pleasure exploring your energy. I've really enjoyed
Well,
it.
pleasure was mine, and I hope I wasn't too weird or too talkative. And you're totally delightful. And if you want to be intuitive, just number one is believe you are intuitive because that is the green ticket. Go past start, and you're already past the starting point if you believe you're intuitive.
Yeah,
You have to believe you're intuitive to be an intuitive. So
yeah,
you just know to believe that you are, and keep going with that, and it'll
yeah,
keep growing.
yeah,
However you develop it, however you channel it.
yeah. Thank you so
Okay.
much. Thank you. This has
Thank you
been
so much.
absolutely delightful. I will definitely be in touch again. And everybody else, I will speak to you all next week. Mwah. Bye.